to be legendary.
Yeah, I'm excited too.
And I've got one more surprise before we hit Paradise Beach.
Right? Let's go.
It's weird.
What?
The bird. Aren't scarecrows supposed to scare off birds?
Obviously, this farmer doesn't know what scary means. Someone took the car?
Scarecrows.
What about them?
They're alive.
And we're back. Hey everyone, how's it going out there? My name's Bennett. Welcome to the return of Takeover Tuesday with Black Fawn Distro, and I am joined with the absolutely awesome Hannah Gordon, actress extraordinaire and star of the film Scarecrows. Hannah, I know we had a couple of moments there where we weren't sure we were going to get you on, but we put our heads together, we figured it out. Welcome to the show. How you doing?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here, and I'm excited that my tech finally decided to work.
Yeah, we called our tech gurus, and we got it figured out. So I'm glad we were able to make it happen. But hey, listen, thanks so much for taking over our Instagram today. Just so much awesome content, so many behind the scenes photos and stories, questions that you were able to answer as well on our stories through Instagram as well. So did you have fun? Did you meet a lot of new people? How was the experience?
Yeah, it was really, really fun. I didn't realize how much of my day it was going to take up. It took up most of the day. But yeah, no, it was super fun. It was cool interacting with people. And it was nice to see people taking an interest in the movie because it's, I feel like that's why we make the movies, is for people to enjoy them. So it was nice to interact with people that have watched it and people that wanted to know more about it and maybe will watch it.
Awesome. And we're going to get into a whole bunch of that over the next 30 to 40 minutes. I just want to tell everyone that's tuning in right now, if you have a question or a comment for Hannah, just throw it down in the comments section if you're on Facebook, and we'll throw it up on the screen and try and ask some questions live during the broadcast. We are broadcasting live to Facebook Live right now on the Black Fawn Distro page, as well as our Twitch page and our YouTube channel. So, and also as well, if you're catching this later on, it will exist after we go off the air, and you'll be able to watch a rerun of it if you didn't have a chance to catch it the first time. So throw your comments in the comment section below, and we will try and get to them. But let's talk a little bit about Scarecrows. Obviously, you have this film that you shot a number of years ago. It's had this amazing longevity online, and kind of an amassed sort of a bit of a cult following. Everywhere it goes, it sort of just it gets new fans and new horror Scarecrow lovers. I guess there's a whole subgenre of people that love Scarecrow horror movies. But does this bring back memories and posting of everything that you posted today about the experience? Because this was this your first feature film when you went into acting?
Yeah, it was one of the first things that I did. So I went to theater school, and then I graduated, and I did It's Importance commercial, and then I did Scarecrows. So I was very new when I did it, but yeah, it brought back a lot of memories, a lot of fun times on set, a lot of, little things that I kind of forgot had happened, I think, over the years, and then you chat with people and it brings memories back up. I had a few people on live, and I spoke to our makeup artist, and she actually reminded me that I had an injury that I totally forgot even happened. Yeah, I fell through the floor of the old house we were in, but it was okay.
And that's the independent horror movie way, right? Is to kind of, you just sort of just go out there and you run it and gun it, and you kind of you shoot whatever you need to shoot, and hopefully it turns out. It's a fantastic movie. If anyone hasn't a chance to check it yet, it is available on VOD as well as digitally across all major platforms in Canada. So that includes Bell, Rogers, Telus, Shaw, Cogeco, Sasktel, and MTS, as well as it's available on iTunes, Google Play, and YouTube. So if you haven't seen Scarecrows, go and check it out. It's awesome, and it stars Hannah Gordon, who's joining us today. So anyway, let's get into like the filming of this movie, because I also know the 5-7 Films crew, the awesome Stu and Adam.
Yeah.
And talk to me, how did you get roped up with those guys, and how did you actually end up starring in the movie? Like what's the story behind that? Because I actually don't know.
Well, I auditioned for it. My agent submitted me for an audition and I went out, and I remember that when we were doing the auditions, I think I went in and read multiple times with different people because they were trying to see who worked best together. And I think that one of the scenes I had no lines. I just had to scream as though my mouth could not open. So that was a whole thing I had to do in the audition. And, you know, I'm actors would know this, but anyone that hasn't acted or auditioned for anything, you kind of just have to go in and do it full out, even though you're sitting in, you know, a sterile kind of room. There's 3 people sitting at a desk across from you, and you just have to go in there and scream like you're dying. Like, yeah.
No problem. That's something that's easier said than done, though, as well, right? Because like people are just like, oh yeah, just scream, it's fine. But I mean, it's kind of like I always equate it to like if you try and sing badly, like if you try and sing off key, it's harder to do that than it is if you're just if you actually can sing, as opposed to if you can't, right? So, but did you find the like were you how excited were you when you got the role? Because did you expect that, or were you just kind of going in there? Yes, this is the audition process and this is what we do. But were you auditioning a lot before then, or?
No, I mean, I had been auditioning for things maybe, when did I, 3 months at that point. Like it wasn't really that long. And yeah, I was really excited. I prepped a lot for those auditions. So like I worked quite hard on them. And yeah, no, I don't think I assumed I was going to get it, but you know, you sometimes just have a really good feeling about something. I definitely had a good feeling about it. So I was very, very happy when I booked it, because it's a really cool role. You get to do so many different things. I got to do so many different things in that role.
And what was your favorite part of the role? Like when you like, so you book the part, you show up on set, you start filming, you've got a vision, sort of like, you know, what you want to do, what you want to accomplish in the film, and then you're working with Stu as a director, and like walk us through sort of like what was your takeaway from that experience, and what were some of the different things that you had to do in that role that you found challenging and that were surprising for you when you got in there?
Wow, it's a few years ago, so I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, sorry. Actually,
but
yeah.
I think just the amount of energy it takes to be a large role in a horror film, and I just don't think I realized how tiring it was going to be, because you're kind of, you know, in a lot of film and TV, you'll have your heightened moments and then moments that are a little more chill, but in this movie, I mean, the entire second half is just all like really, really heightened. So I think that like sustaining that, and we were doing pretty much mostly night shoots except for the scenes at the beginning of the film. So it was also getting your body used to being awake all night. But yeah, I think some of the scenes that I'm proud of are scenes, some of the ones that I had with Derek Kristoff, who plays the farmer's son, when he's gonna go and like, I think he's gonna kill me, but then he's not. So it was challenging, but I was happy. I was really happy with that scene. Yeah, I think the amount of energy it took was a bit surprising to me, because I just was very tiring.
And how long was the shoot then, like front to back?
It was 14 days. So I was on set for 13 days out of 14. I think we might have had a couple days break in the middle. I don't entirely remember, but yeah, so it was pretty quick. That's not very long to shoot a feature film. So we were going very quickly through the shots.
And you have a background, like you mentioned, you have a background in theater, right, and stage. What's the, like, how did you want to get into movies? Like, what made you want to do that, make that transition? Like, was it, and especially horror films? Like, do you have a love for horror films when you were growing up? Is it something you've always wanted to do? Or like, what kind of, were there other movies that sort of inspired you to go down that route? Or how did that come to be?
I think that I'm someone that likes, I wouldn't say I'm someone that watches a lot of slasher movies like Scarecrows, to be honest with you. But I do really like fantasy movies, like some of Guillermo del Toro's movies, or thrillers like Silence of the Lambs. Movies that are like just really, really well done and sort of create their own world,
right,
for the characters. So yeah, and I mean, and transitioning from theater, it was interesting because I did a little bit of professional theater work, but not a ton. It was mostly just school, and then I kind of realized that the stuff I wanted to create would find a better home in the film world.
right.
In terms of the worlds I wanted to be a part of, the worlds I wanted to create. So yeah, I think I kind of graduated and then realized what I actually wanted to do was film and TV.
Right, right. So, and since then, you've branched out into other areas of the industry, correct?
What do you mean by that exactly?
So I read on, I think it was on your IMDb that you're branching into producing as well.
I'd like to.
Right. Okay.
So I did come up with a series that I was gonna produce with a friend of mine a couple of years ago, and we pitched it to some people, and we sort of decided we wanted to rework it. But we did write, we wrote a pilot, we wrote the whole outline for the series, and then yeah, since then I haven't worked on any projects officially in a producing capacity, but it is something that I would definitely like to be involved in,
right,
going forward, for sure.
And do you think acting is that's sort of your calling, or do you think you might try your hand at, like, is it writing, directing? Is that sort of in the cards, do you think, later on down the road? Or how do you see your career kind of expanding from where you are now to where it might be in the future?
Yeah, I would definitely still like to be acting, for sure. And like, acting is something that, as I mentioned, Scarecrows was the first feature film that I did. So I feel like in a lot of ways I was still learning when I did it. Even if, the audience can't tell, I feel like, I was still in a bit of a learning process. So I'm still taking classes. I'm still trying to grow as an actor, even while I'm working professionally. So yeah, that's definitely something I still want to do, but I would love to direct something. And I have a lot of projects that I have written, like short films, and I have a whole list of film, kind of outlines and concepts that I'd love to see made. They just haven't gotten made yet. So,
and they're all about Scarecrows, right? I'm just kidding. Let's just jump into a quick question here. So we've got a bunch of people tuning in right now. We got a question from Alexander. He just wants to know, how has your career been since making Scarecrows, and has it been versatile, or are you still in genre films primarily? And yeah, that's a great question. I mean, what kind of projects have you been working on in the past few years since filming with Stu and Adam?
Yeah, so it's been kind of varied. So I did another indie film called Rev the year after I shot Scarecrows, and that was with, oh my God, what is the name of their film company? It was another local Toronto company. I feel like I'm just blanking right now. N5 Pictures, that's the name of their company. But yeah, so we made Rev, which is this indie, high octane, kind of Fast and the Furious car movie. So I played a completely different character in that movie than the character I played in Scarecrows. So my character in that movie is probably closer to the character of Devon, the other female character in the Scarecrows movie. So it's kind of fun. Very 180 shift. But that movie was really great too, and I think sort of a genre film in a different way. It's a bit of a car niche film. So that was another indie film, and I do really like working on indie films because I feel like you get that sense of community and everybody there wants to be there. So that's really nice. But then I've also done, I did a Christmas movie, or a holiday movie, I should say. It's a New Year's movie that's on Netflix now. It's called Midnight at the Magnolia.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that one was fun. And then I also am in a Lifetime movie called My Mom's Darkest Secrets, which is, I wouldn't call it a genre movie, but it's definitely sort of a murder mystery kind of movie.
Yeah.
And then I've had appearances in other things, like I played a young Cassie on Good Witch, which was cool. And then I've appeared in a few other things and some commercials. I've done a lot of commercials too.
So just to touch on it. So speaking of witches, it says that on in your filmography that you were in a movie called Hurt, where you played the witch.
Yes.
Can you tell us about that?
So Hurt, yeah, wow. It's funny how you do things and then time passes and you just kind of don't think about them on a daily basis. But Hurt was cool. It was another indie horror film that was shot in Ottawa. I've actually never seen it, so I wish I could. I wish I could talk a little more about that. But so I think it screened at Fantasia, and then I don't know what happened to it after that. But I basically was in one scene, and I kind of was sort of a foreshadowing something happened to me that later happened to the main character. So
Gotcha.
I get hanged essentially, but when I do it, it's like a fun fair thing. So it was fun. It was cool being on that set. It was really I'm sure it became a really creepy, good movie. I actually haven't seen it.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So anyone out there, if you can track that movie down, it's Hurt, and it stars Hannah Gordon as the witch. So please, if you've seen it, let us know what you think for sure. And let's get to there is a couple just a follow-up question that Alexander had, more of a question for myself, but I feel like we need to address it here. Is like, will Scarecrows be available on Blu-ray through Black Fawn, or has another distributor already released it? So yes, just to kind of step backwards, because I think that, fans of the film, I think, would want to know this too, is that we always had plans to do a physical Blu-ray release, and we were planning on doing that in 2020. Of course, plans changed in early 2020, of course, and so that therefore we're just kind of playing it by ear. But there is still a plan to look into doing that in the future. And if we do release it, it'll be on Blu-ray for sure. So hopefully that answers your question, Alexander. And if you were curious, Hannah, that's the official answer from Team Black Fawn. So there's just got one more question too, just from John McIsaac. He's just popped in here saying, hello, Hannah. Hello, Benner. Hannah, what was the most difficult thing about acting, and also through your career, what are you most proud of so far, of course?
I think one of the most difficult things about acting is when you do have a bit of a dry spell in terms of bookings, like continuing to remind yourself that you have passion for it and finding the drive to do it even when you're not being paid to do it. And I think that every actor goes through periods like that. And then I would also say, for me, I am a very sensitive person. So sometimes when I do an emotional scene, I will tend to hang on to those feelings after. So that's something I've been working to try and let go of more easily, because nobody wants to stay in a sad, distressed state. And then in terms of what I'm most proud of, I think it's funny because I think Scarecrows and Rev are probably two of the things that I am the most proud of, because they were two of the projects that I felt had the most heart in them in a lot of ways. Even though I think that as an actor, I've grown more as I've done other projects, I feel like those two, I don't know, I'm proud of them because they just feel like these projects that started out so small, but then they've kind of grown into these bigger things and have gotten worldwide distribution. And it's just really cool to see that happen.
Right. And you mentioned just like holding on to like sort of like, you know, negative feelings when you're sort of acting through these roles. Does that only happen with the negative feelings, or if you're doing like a happy scene, does that resonate with you? Do you hold on to that kind of energy as well, or is it just one way, or that's it?
No, definitely. So I love doing happy scenes because then I just feel great.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem holding on to that energy, but the other energy.
So let's flip back to Scarecrows, just for anyone out there who is looking to watch the film. Just to let everyone know, it is available on VOD on demand and digital HD on most of the all the major VOD platforms across Canada. That includes Bell, Rogers, MTS, SaskTel, Cogeco, TELUS, and Shaw. So you can actually rent it tonight or rent it this weekend, and you can check out Scarecrows with Hannah Gordon, as well as and directed by Stu Stone. Let's talk about these 5'7" guys too, because one of the things that I always hear about this movie is how funny it is. And even though it's a horror film, and even though it's it's by definition, I guess, a slasher and subgenre scarecrow horror, I guess. But the humor in this movie really does come through as well. And usually when I first met Adam and Stu, I didn't really know what to make of them because they have a I don't know what to call it, but they work really, really well off each other, and it's hard to know which guy is doing what at some points, just with comedy routines and that sort of stuff. They have a new film out right now called Faking a Murder. It's very, very funny. I highly recommend everyone check that out on Hollywood Suite. Are they like that on set, working day to day as well? Because they're very dry and deadpan, and they can be hilarious at points as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think that the environment that they created on set was a really, really nice one to work in, because it was this just kind of very friendly, fun environment, very warm. Even though, of course, we were still working, we all knew we had a job to do. It was a very enjoyable environment that they created on set.
And how did they get to, like, how did we get, you come on set, you know that you're going to have to do some challenging things in the role. You're the star of the film. But when it came down to the point of becoming, let's say, I don't know, spoiler alert, everyone, if you haven't seen it, but like it's in the trailer, you and your co-stars crucified essentially as scarecrows. You guys actually became children of the corn. Like, when did that happen in the shoot, and how did you have to get prepared for it, and was it scary, daunting? Were you nervous? Like, walk us through that process of how and maybe how Stu and Adam pitched it, like hey, this is what we're gonna do.
I'm trying to remember. I think that when I was actually up on the cross, it was a shot in the daytime, so mine was a little different than everyone else's because mine is like a reveal at the end. Well, sorry, spoiler, I guess. I'm on a cross in the sun, whereas everybody else is on a cross at night. So I think for me, it was a little bit less freaky. But for the others, like Umed, Maor, and Mike, they were all up on their crosses at night. And my character finds them. So, yeah, it was, I don't know what exactly we did in terms of prep for it, but we were actually on those crosses for real. I mean, we weren't hanging from them. There was a step that we could stand on, so we weren't, actually in any kind of pain or anything. But yeah, I don't remember exactly what we did to prep for that, but we did have the makeup done by our makeup artist, Megan Fraser, who was amazing. And we really couldn't fully open our mouths when our mouths were sewn up like that. They weren't really sewn up, but I'd have to like drink through a little straw. I couldn't
Yeah.
talk. And I remember when I was up on the cross, Stu, going back to what you were saying about them joking around about stuff, he was just trying to get me to laugh the whole time, even though I couldn't. And I knew I was gonna, if I actually laughed, I was gonna mess up my makeup. So that was kind of a funny memory. But yeah, some of those things, it's funny. Some things I feel like for me as an actor, I kind of have to emotionally really, really get there. But when it came to the scenes where I was just doing a lot of like screaming or struggling, I feel like it's you kind of just have to do it. And if you think too much about it, it doesn't really work.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just more of an instinctual thing. If I was in this situation, this is exactly how I would react. As opposed to trying to really plan it out.
Yeah, I mean, there's certain things you can plan, but I think that for that, a lot of the action, you kind of just have to do it. Yeah.
Fair enough. Listen, Hannah, I know we've got there is a point in this show that we have a rapid fire section. We had some technical difficulties at the start of the show, so I wasn't able to give you a little bit of a heads up in here. So this is actually a pretty big surprise for you, because you're just finding out about this right now. So that's great. But it's rapid fire brought to you by our sponsor, which is Wellington Brewery. They are a local beer company here in Guelph, and we'll just open that up. I'll take a sip of it. Wellington Brewery. It's the oldest brewery in Guelph. They do sponsor us. They keep Black Fawn Distro running when we have conventions and when we don't have conventions year round. It's Hell's Lager, Hell's Yeah. It's available at free local delivery. In the Guelph Waterloo area, or you can visit their brewery in Guelph on on Victoria Road, and you can also purchase their beers in the LCBO. So Hannah, we're going to keep this rapid fire questions. I got a bunch ready to go here for you. You're in the hot seat. This is hard hitting journalism at its best. And are you ready to go to take the challenge?
I think so. Yep, I'm ready.
Okay. So we're not going to spend a lot of time on this. We're just going to go right through them. But rapid fire, yes or no. Director Stu Stone is more mischievous than producer Adam Rodness.
Yes.
Alrighty. Now moving on. Rapid fire. You got to pick one. You're trying to escape the clutches of another psycho madman, and you can only save one other character from Scarecrows. Who would you pick?
Barbsy.
Okay. Next one coming right at you. Rapid fire, help us out. Excluding this current interview, what's the hardest interview you've ever had to do, and why?
I think I'm good at interviews.
When you tune in to Takeover Tuesday, you get raw honesty. That's why people tune in every other week right here on Black Fawn Distro. But yeah, that's all. That's your answer. So moving on.
I couldn't think of a bad one.
Rapid fire. What do you want? You can watch a movie with any other actor or actress, dead or alive. Who would you pick, and what movie would you watch?
With them. Oh my God. I don't even know why. I feel like Jack Black would just be really fun to hang out with, and
So Jack Black, are you watching a Jack Black movie with Jack Black, or are you watching something else?
So I guess that's my first answer.
School of Rock with Jack Black. Okay, yeah, I can get behind that. And we got this is how I knew about this movie. But you played the witch in the film Hurt, so you obviously know how to cast spells. Have you cast a spell on anyone recently?
On myself.
Okay, and what was it for?
It was like I did a spell with a couple of my friends on a full moon a few months ago, and it was sort of just I'd never done one before, and it was sort of just setting good intentions for the next year. Okay.
We all need some of that. So yeah, thank you for doing that. Hopefully we can get in on that action as well. And this is just a kind of a fun question because we were talking about this before when we were setting this up a couple of weeks ago. Or I think this week you mentioned something, but before you all get too excited, you recently appeared in The Craft Legacy. Can you tell us exactly how many seconds you actually appeared in the film for?
Maybe 10 seconds.
10 seconds. So, but check it out. It's a solid movie, and thanks for doing that. That's it. That's not too bad, right? So,
that's
rapid fire. Yeah. Again, brought to you by Wellington Brewery. They are the makers of Hell's Lager, Hell's Lager, Hell's yeah. Thanks, Hannah, for being such a good sport. Let's dive into some other questions before we let you go. You've got, you mentioned sort of doing different things in the industry, doing different roles, taking on new challenges. Talk to us about what you have coming up. I know 2020 was a bit of a weird year, obviously, for everyone on the planet. A lot of things got changed, lots of moving targets. But do you have upcoming projects that you're currently working on or will be working on in the near future?
Yeah, so I don't officially set in stone have anything coming up, but two of my really good friends are actually in the process of writing a feature, and they're planning on shooting it this summer. So if all goes to plan, I will be in that, which is really, really exciting. It's sort of, it would definitely be it's a thriller. I would say it's definitely not the same type of movie as Scarecrows, but it's sort of a quiet, slow building tension thriller with a very small cast. So I think it's going to be really, really cool. But then other than that, I've been taking classes out of a studio in LA, which has been really great. And I've been taking writing courses. So kind of just trying to, and auditioning, of course, all the time, always auditioning. So.
And what's your, I mean, everyone's sick and tired of talking about COVID and the pandemic and masks and, all this stuff, but obviously it's still interesting to a certain extent, just from a learning point of view. What is your experience? Have you been on set since the pandemic started or sets or anything like that? And obviously just to shed some light for our viewers out there about how things have changed over the last 12, 13 months now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the last project that I was on set for was at the beginning of 2020, so January 2020, and that was Midnight at the Magnolia. And I actually haven't been on set since then. Anything I've done related to acting has been virtual.
Yeah.
So yeah, I actually can't really give that much insight from my personal experiences on set, but I have a lot of friends who have been on set, and most of them, I think, had to be tested 3 days before their shoot.
Yeah.
COVID. And then throughout the shoot, if it was a longer one, they'd be tested, I think, every 3 days. And I think with larger casts, they really wanted them to try and isolate as much as possible. So, and then everyone on set's wearing masks except for the actors when they're in the scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I've been watching. I mean, obviously, I've been staying at home a lot more often than I used to, watching a lot of movies. And now I watch movies and I'm like, I guess we'll be able to shoot scenes like that again one day. Like even just the crowded shopping mall scenes or, stadium scenes and stuff like that, where it's like, there's like literally like 1,000 people in that scene. Like, how would you, I watched Gladiator during COVID, and it was like that opening scene, which has like whatever it is, like 5,000 extras or whatever. I'm like, how would you even manage that in this current situation? You wouldn't be able to. I wonder if we'll get back to that. Hopefully we will.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the way that they've cast things and how they're dealing with scenes like that has changed. I know that I think there's a limit to how many cast members or individuals can be.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
Place at a time. So I think they've had to change some scripts because of that, and have had to cut some smaller characters. So I think that also means for people that are starting out in the industry, there's less available, to go out for when you're still kind of working your way up.
Which is interesting because you wonder if that will lead to there being like less opportunities, might create obviously like a demand for people wanting to do stuff. I wonder if we'll see like an influx of like independent horror films or independent films in general, just from people saying, we've got a small crew, we can go out and shoot something, and we're just going to go out and shoot it like guerrilla style, renegade style, like kind of a little bit off the grid and see what we come up with. Right. I know that was kind of really popular like about 10, 12 years ago, and it sort of dissipated over the years with the advent of streaming. So I wonder if maybe, because of that necessity, I wonder if we'll see more films coming out over the next couple of years that are filmed in that way.
Yeah. And I kind of hope so. I'm kind of hoping that after this is done, And I mean, even starting during it, there's just kind of a renaissance in a lot of places, but especially in our industry, in terms of people just having been constrained for so long and then finally being able to do the thing that they want to do again in a more fully fledged way. And I think that this quote that my dad always used to say comes to mind, and it's necessity is the mother of invention. So, you know, you have to get creative when you're in a situation that isn't ideal. So yeah, I hope that does happen.
Well, I mean, words to live by for sure, and hopefully, if there's any aspiring filmmakers out there, you know, hey, take that advice and run with it. Hopefully, we can see some really new and cool feature films coming out of this bad situation, right? And hopefully we emerge into a better one shortly. So, listen, Hannah, thanks for joining us. I've just got one last question for you. Leave it on kind of a bit of a funny note, but you've accumulated a ton of experiences over the years. And what's one of your funniest moments from either the set or the stage that you always think about, maybe?
Oh man. See, I think I told you this at some point. I'm one of those people that's bad at just picking one. I'm like, I have 10.
Doesn't need to be, you're just one of. It doesn't need to be the top memory.
Wait, was it funniest? Man. When I was shooting Rev, I mean, I don't even know if this is funny, but it was just really fun. There's scenes where I am supposed to be doing drag racing around a track, and it really looks like it's me, and it's definitely not me. I did not drive that far to save my life. But they did a really good job, and you know, I had a lot of people that watched that movie message me asking if it's me and if I can do that, and I really, really want to say yes, but no.
Looking back, do you wish you would have just said yes then and said, yeah, of course, yeah, it was amazing. It was such a rush.
I mean, yeah, I feel like I'm a very honest person though, so I'm just like, I want to tell the truth. But yeah, I kind of do wish that I had said that. But
awesome. Well, listen, we won't take up any more of your time. But thanks so much for taking so much time today to take over our Instagram, post all the photos that you did, and talk to our fans that had questions for you. Just before I go, just stick around after we get off the air. I just want to catch you up on a couple of things, if you don't mind. But to everyone else that's tuning in, thanks again for checking out Takeover Tuesday. We're back. We're going to be doing this every 2 weeks. A new guest will be announced shortly. And Hannah, thanks so much. Where can people check you out next? And where can they follow you online?
Yeah, so if you want to follow me online, you can follow me on Instagram. So my Instagram handle is @Hannah, _Maria, MARIAG.
Okay, so make sure you follow Hannah on Instagram, and she'll keep you up to date with all the stuff that she's doing. She also has a film on Netflix, which is called
Midnight at the Magnolia.
Midnight at the Magnolia. Check that out as well. And of course, Scarecrows available nationwide in Canada across on all major VOD platforms and on HD Digital. That includes Bell, Rogers, MTS, SaskTel, Cogeco, Shaw, TELUS, and iTunes, as well as Google Play and YouTube. So Hannah, we'll leave it there. Thanks so much for joining us. And just a quick shout out to everyone watching is just, hey, listen, I know we're still in a pandemic. I know it sucks, but and I hate to keep talking about it, but let's just stay safe and help out. Wear a mask, wash your hands, practice social distancing, check in on your family and friends as well. We're going to year 2 of this. I know it's crazy. My sister just had a birthday. It was her second birthday in lockdown, which is pretty funny. But listen, we're almost out of the woods now, and if we just keep doing what we're doing, hopefully we'll get there, and we can start going to see movies with tons of people in it, as opposed to just limited casts. So again, Hannah, thanks so much. Hannah Gordon from Scarecrows. Make sure you check it out on HD Digital as well as VOD, and have a great night. Stick around for a few minutes. We'll catch up, and we'll see you soon. I wish you the best of luck in 2021 and beyond.
Thank you so much. You too.
Take care.